Hello and welcome to your first jQuery tutorial from me, Alex Bowers, for the TutSpace YouTube channel. This is going to be a jQuery tutorial on form validation. All the HTML which you see here, as well as the folder structure which I'm using within this, and the CSS and such, will all be available for download from some website. I'll put a link in the thing at the bottom. So first of all, I'll just explain what we've got. We've got 5 fields here, 4 normal input fields and then 1 text area. We've got labels above each of these, and then we've got little span tags at the side which give sort of extra information. If you look at the page source on this, you can see that it's very basic setup. We've got 2 JavaScript files, one which I'll show you how to get in a second, and one which we're going to make. We've got a CSS file which I'll give to you, and we've got the basic HTML structure which you should understand how to do. If not, I'm giving you that as well. So let's get started, I guess. The first thing we need to do is download the jQuery library. So you can get that from jQuery.com. and I am going to download the production version, which looks like a load of gibberish, but don't worry about that, you don't need to know what any of it means. So Control A, Control C to copy, go into Dreamweaver or your favourite editor, open a new JavaScript file, Control V to paste, Control S to save, and save that as jQuery, and save. That's saved as jQuery.js inside the... Oh, it's probably worth noting that you need to save that within the JavaScript area. So js/jQuery.js is what your file name needs to be. Okay, so now that we've got jQuery, we can close that one, and as you can see, nothing currently happens when we send the form. And it's going to stay that way for this tutorial. I'll probably do an Ajax tutorial featuring this again sometime in the future, but for now we're just going to keep it simple and keep it using this. So the first thing we need to do is, currently if we can type anything into any of these, nothing happens. Now that's not very useful, and if you were to send it like that, with no validation at all, that just won't help you or the person who's using your website. So that's what validation is for. Is basically to check that the content that they insert is the content which you need them to insert. So right, okay, here's my HTML structure, and here's the JavaScript file. It's called custom.js, so open that one up. I'm going to start first with basic jQuery. Okay, so document.ready, that's a jQuery call, which we tell it that we're going to create a function, and then we open the function brackets. So there we end that, and what we need to do is we need to load up all our global variables. So we're going to do variable form equals form. Now, basically, I'm going to explain what this line means for one, and then I'm going to pause the video, record the rest of these, type out the rest of these, and then restart the video for you. So basically, this sets up a variable named form, and it sets it equal to, that just sort of means called jQuery, and we're setting it to the ID contact form, which if you go into the HTML file, you can see form, and then the ID of that is contact form. So basically, that will tell it that whenever we call the variable form, we're looking within this area of the HTML document. So I'm just going to pause the video and type out the rest of these. Right, okay, so I've done that for all of these fields now, and so now we have direct access to every single one of these, every single thing that they type in into each of these, and also we have the ability to get the details of what's inside these elements as well, because we'll need to change them later. Right, okay, so now what we do is we have the onBlur. Actually no, it'd be better for us to actually, yeah, I'm going to do the form.submit is a function, and then we do if. We're going to create these functions later, by the way, just so you know. Validate email. Validate pass1. Validate pass2. And validate message. Right, okay, here we're going to return true, and here we're going to return false. Basically, right, what this is saying, if it validates the name, the email, the password 1, password 2, and the message, then return true. If it fails any single one of those, return false. Just close that off there. Basically, what this will end up allowing us to do after we create each of these functions individually, it just means that whenever they click the submit button, which is this input here, whenever they click that, it allows us to call this function, which then runs this if function, this if statement, which will tell us whether or not they've actually filled in the information we need them to fill in. So now what we're going to do is create the validate name. So let's see. Right, what this does is it says, this is to check if it's not valid, by the way, this bit. If the value of the input field name is less than 5 characters long, then what we need to do is we're going to create the error. So name dot Right, okay, so what this does is we add a class to the name, the input field name, which we've defined in the style sheet called error. There we go. What that does is it gives it a border and such. Wait, that's not a class, that's an ID. Right. There we go. Like, so that for the text area, it changes the background colour and changes the border colour and stuff, so it makes it look better. So, and then we're also changing the text inside the name details to be what we need it to be. And so, obviously, we need to also change the colour of that too. So. There we go, that's that done, and we need to return false. However, we also need to do something if it is true. So if it's valid, then name.remove class. That's a failsafe for if they've inserted it before, and it's failed the first time around. The second time around, it'll remove that class, so it does nice things for them. So you can tell. Need to change that. Change the text, which is, what's the original text I chose? What's your name? And we also need to remove the name details class. Okay, and return that true. But I've run out of time, so I'm going to leave it there.